Hey guys, it's Mike Sheely back again today in my second video with you. Today's focus is going to be on reading and studying the Bible. If you didn't catch the first video, I'm simply wanting to share with you a little bit about my life and my story following Jesus to help you if you're curious about what it means to be a Christian, if you're new to reading the Bible. I want to help you with those kind of things. We're even going to do a study together in these videos on this channel. And I know that watching a video on YouTube is very much like listening to a lecture, but I do want it to be more conversational. And so in the comments below the video, if you will leave questions, feedback, whatever it is you want to say, I have some experience doing YouTube and I respond to every comment on my other channels. And I plan to do the same on this channel. And so today we'll get started with some basics and hopefully help you when it comes to understanding how to read your Bible and how to get started if you haven't read it before, and how to get unstuck if you had some bad habits or struggle with this. One of the first things is picking out a translation. If you speak English, which is what I'm recording this video in, there are a ton of translations for you to pick from. And everybody you look to is going to tell you they have their favorite, and they may even say which one is the correct or incorrect. Here's what I'll say. You want a translation of the Bible that is accurate. The team has gone back to the original languages, which I probably need to hit pause. The Bible was originally written in three different languages, mostly Hebrew in the Old Testament, telling the story of what God was doing through his people, and then Greek for the New Testament, the stories of Jesus and his life and ministry, and the letters that were written after that. And there's a little bit of Aramaic mixed in there too. So, a good Bible translation, the team goes back, looks at the original languages, the oldest copies they can find, does a good study of how to make those words make sense today. I mean, think about it. If you were to go, if you lived in the United States and you went to Mexico, you would need someone to translate into Spanish for you so people could understand you. But if you went to Spain, you'd also need a translator, but that Spanish is going to have some things that are a little bit different than the Spanish that you would speak in Mexico. And so it's the same kind of thing throughout South America. Like you're going to need a translator that knows the local dialect so that you're accurately understood. Same thing with English. You want a translation that communicates it accurately today. So you want a recent translation. My favorite translation is the New Living Translation. It was first completed around 1996, and they've done revisions since then to keep it accurate and understandable today. The New International Version is also really popular with people. That's a great one to look at. And again, just depends what you want to look through. You want one that's accurate and easy to understand. And if you have a translation, you have no idea if it's accurate. I have been in ministry for over 25 years. Leave a comment of what translation you have a question about. I'm happy to do the research and to help you to understand it. At the end of the day, I don't want to fight about what translation we use. I want you to be able to have a translation that makes sense to you and that's accurate so that what you're reading actually makes sense. Now, I will tell you, if you've been to church before and a lot of this stuff all sounds familiar to you and you've kind of tuned it out, it's like white noise, then I would encourage you to grab something like The Message, where it is more of a paraphrase. It's a dynamic equivalence, is the big word for it. But it means they're trying to make sure the thoughts are communicated. And when Eugene Peterson led that work, it was a really good Bible. I read that alongside my New Living Translation just to give me a fresh listen. If you're going to get into Bible study, I would say you want something like the New Living Translation or the New International Version as your base study Bible, and then the message you read alongside of that. I will also say if English isn't your first language, if you have some kind of a learning disability when it comes to reading that's difficult for you, whatever the challenge is, if reading is hard and you want a simpler translation, I don't know that it's available very much in print yet, but if you go online and look for the Easy English Bible, I'll leave a link for it in the description below. This is a translation done in England by a group of people who wanted to help those that English wasn't their first language. They also wanted to help people who, because of the way their brain is, have a hard time processing idioms and creative languages. So it is done with, I think it's a 1,200 word vocabulary. It's the easiest to understand from just a straightforward, here's what it says Bible, that for some people, that's going to be exactly what they're looking for. Now, I also know there's some of you who either don't like to read or reading is a challenge for you. You'd rather listen to it. And so there are a lot of audio Bibles out there. In fact, if you download the Bible app, I'll have a link to that in my description as well. It gives you options of both reading and listening to the Bible. Here's what I'll tell you. Most audiobooks I listen to, if it's one person reading it, whether it's the Bible or any other book, sometimes it's hard for me to stay focused. But the ones I like the most is either where the author has recorded the audiobook, so I feel like I'm sitting down and having a conversation with that person, or they've done what's called a dramatic reading. Yeah, not good at that word. Where they have different people voicing each person in the story, so it's like you're sitting and like watching this thing play out or listening to what used to be a radio show. And there is an audio version of the Bible that does this. There's a couple different versions that do that. My favorite one was actually done by a group of people in Chicago that call themselves StreetLights, and they have a StreetLights Bible. And they use the New Living Translation text, but they really aimed this Bible for people who had come up in an urban area and that just listening to a Bible or reading it wasn't going to be a good thing for them. Or because of where they either stopped their education or struggled with reading and didn't have help, they needed a way for them to process it that was a little bit easier. And so they came up with what I think is my favorite audio Bible of all time. It's a Streetlights Bible. There's a link for it in the description as well. A lot of links today. But this one is the New Living Translation with different people voicing each person in that letter or book and a hip hop soundtrack playing behind it. So if you've ever heard spoken word or had somebody, it's not quite a rap because it is people reading scripture, but that beat behind it, all of a sudden it makes it where you start listening to it, 5, 10, 15 minutes go by, you have just listened to 3 tracks. But those 3 tracks are the same as 3 chapters in the Bible. This has been my favorite way, even though I've been a Christian for 25 plus years, this has been my favorite way to listen to larger chunks of the Bible, to think about what they're writing in the whole story. And that's actually one of my tips for you. If you're going to read the Bible, I don't know that many people write letters anymore, but I have a grandmother who still sends us letters when she sends us a card, and sometimes she'll just send us a letter. We never grab the letter and read random sentences out of it. But too often, if you think about it, we do that with the Bible. Maybe we heard a sermon or someone was asking about something, so we go and we read those verses, those sentences in the Bible, but we don't know what else is going on. When we get a letter from my grandmother, we sit down and we read it. And a lot of times we'll read it out loud and the family will sit around and listen to it. It sounds old fashioned, but you don't get very many handwritten letters anymore. So we want to read the whole thing. We want to know what's going on. And if we pulled one sentence out of context of what she was writing, it would not make sense. It could be totally misinterpreted. So that's my challenge with the Bible. If you haven't read the Bible before, or it's been a long time, or you've never read a whole book of the Bible, don't let it overwhelm you. First of all, the Bible's not a regular book. It's a collection of 66 different writings. There's poetry, there's history, you've got biography, you have letters that were written. There's all kinds of stuff in there that are different types of literature. So in the description below, I've got a link to Bible Project. If you're not familiar with that, they have these great resources to help people understand the Bible. It's literally what the website says. And if you scroll down, they have videos, guides, classes, podcasts. And I would just encourage you to go to this first part here. This is Feeling Lost in the Bible, How to Read the Bible videos. You click on that button to start the series, and it gives you a bunch of videos. We'll even do it for you here today, where you can go through and see how to read the Bible with each of these little 5 to 10 minute videos to give you a better understanding of what you're reading. And then if you have a particular book you want to read, if you go back to that main page, you can pick on Old Testament or New Testament, and you can go through and watch an overview video. This is like a sketch note style explanation of that book in the Bible. And that's what I'd recommend. We're going to be digging into the book of John. We're going to be reading through it. I'm going to show you some of the tips of how I read and journal and highlight and take notes and study. But this is my encouragement to you. If you haven't read the Bible before, give it a chance. If you've read it and it's been confusing, think about this. If you don't have a preference, get the New Living Translation. You can check it out online for free. You can use the Bible app below. I've also given you a link to the New Living Translation website for their publishing company where you can look up any verses you want. But also check out these videos on Bible Project. They'll really help you understand the bigger picture of how to read the Bible, how it was put together. They're animated. They're explained really well. This is a great resource to use when it comes to reading the Bible. I'll share more in the next video. We'll talk specifically about how I read and highlight and make notes, and in the process, help you hopefully understand the Bible, maybe for the very first time, maybe in a fresh way. Thanks for checking out this video. We're going to go live every day as much as we can. When I can't go live, I'll record a straight 10-minute unedited video like this. I'll still have resources for you in the comments. I'll have resources for you in the description. You leave me questions in the comments. There's something I said today that you didn't understand or I wasn't clear about. Leave me a comment, a question below, and I'll respond to you. In future videos, when I go live, I totally invite you to come on and you can ask questions during the live and I can respond to it right here with you. I want to help you get to know Jesus. I want to help you read the Bible. And this is the first step. Check out the links in the Bible Project. Make sure you have a translation that's accurate and easy for you to read or to listen to, and then we'll take our next steps in the next video. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.